best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
PA. I'm so glad you finally
We are
wait.
live.
I'm so glad you finally wait now.
So what now?
I said I'm so glad you finally wait now to say TA. Because
Yeah.
for the longest time. You didn't know. You didn't know.
I didn't know. I had no
Y'all,
idea.
for the longest time we'd be doing our show, and we edit it. I edit it, but me and Reagan, we really don't go back and listen to it, right? Like we edit them, we throw it out there, put it in as audio version, and we release it, and then
we don't need to
roll
listen
with
to it. We're doing it right now.
Yeah, exactly. So,
What
but for the longest time, we didn't realize that Reagan's T was getting cut off at the beginning of his intro. It'd be like, back, it'd be doing the intro like back it on up, hey, and then it'd be like, and then you're all of a sudden you're, hey.
Everybody probably thought that's all I was saying was, hey.
Yeah, everybody's like, hey.
Oh man, no, I was trying to say
he's supposed to be saying T, hey,
P, hey.
Oh,
No, we're back, Zach. Back with some things to discuss. We got three more position groups to cover.
bro.
We're grouping the tight ends with the receivers tonight. What we got going on, Zach? What did you say? Did you just bro me?
Sunday is a week away.
It's a week away, man. Wait, what?
A week away.
Oh, you're saying when we get to Sunday.
Away from kickoff.
I was like, Sunday ain't a week away. I was like, what?
Sunday,
I see
we're a
what
week
you're
away
saying
from
now. I see what you're saying now. 1 week, yes, from opening day for the LSU Tigers. I'm pumped for this weekend. I mean, it's week 0, and there's not much on, but I can't wait. I can't wait to watch some football this weekend. It's college football.
We know Hawaii's playing.
Dude, I'm watching the Notre Dame Navy game in Dublin. That's all I'm saying. I'm watching
week
it.
0. Let's see. Oh, shoot.
I watched
this Thursday. A week from today is the Florida Utah game.
Yep. So it's exciting, guys. It's here. It's right here, boys. It's right here. Football time. So we got a couple more previews for you. We're going to do receivers tonight, and we're going to group the tight ends with that because obviously they catch passes as well. Hold up for a second. I thought it said David Stingley Jr. I was like, do we have like a relative of Derek in here? Of Mr. Stingley?
We appreciate you joining, David.
Appreciate it, David.
First time.
Welcome.
David, you can catch us live on Mondays and Fridays unless you have like a week like we did this week where things got crazy. During the summer, we're a lot more flexible. A lot more flexible in the summer. But during like football season, it's Monday and Friday all the time. Mondays around 8:15 and Fridays, it just depends. But we're always going live, usually Monday and Friday. Tyler's with us as well. Said evening, guys. Tyler, good to have you here, bro.
David, I don't see what's on your cross there. I think it says something like "have faith" or something like that.
Let's see. Brian Harrison.
Brian Harrison.
I think it's a logo for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like the cross. By the way. Anyways, so Zach, we got 3 more position groups covered. We're gonna cover receivers tonight. We're gonna cover running backs next time, and then to wrap it up, next Friday, right before week 1, we will do the quarterback room. So we're right here at it, guys, and we're gonna give you our last final fall camp update here. Obviously, the scrimmage was last Saturday. I mean, Zach, as of right now, as of today, per Brian Kelly, today, preparation for Florida State began.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, fall camp,
we're in Florida State.
We're going to pack it up tonight on fall camp, and we're going to be discussing fall camp no more because it is Florida State prep time. And we got tonight a little bit extra, a little Lagniappe to talk about. There's a few things around LSU that needs to be discussed. Some guys making some noise in the pros. Some things going on that the NCAA continues to prove they're stupid. So we will discuss those things. The NCAA sucks. They continue to ruin their own product. And we hate their guts. But we'll discuss it when we get there. I think everybody feels the same. The NCAA is very stupid. But we'll get that's the little extra later. That'll be our final segment. And if y'all want to, y'all can ask us any questions. David, I see your comment there that was for 2 kids that were killed in a crash. I sure hate to hear that, man. That's tragic. Well, I mean, it's great for you to support them and their families with your profile picture. Really appreciate that. All right, guys. Zach, I guess we might as well get into our preview here. Big group to discuss. Lots of receivers, lots of talent. And, you know, it seems like you know who your guys are, but it feels like there are some other guys who can contribute in some different ways and start also some guys who are going to start making a name for themselves this year and in the future as guys like Kyron and Malik exit this year. Yeah. So, Zach, what are your initial thoughts here on the receiver group? We're also grouping the tight ends in this group. So we can discuss the receivers first, and then we'll discuss the tight ends. But what are your thoughts on the receiving room right now?
Well, I mean, you pretty much know who your top 3 guys or top 3, 4 guys are going to be, right? You know that Malik Neighbors is your number 1 guy, your number 1 target. Last year, I came out with a hot button topic and said, hey, look, I know, guys, we have Kayshon Boutte, but listen, I'm telling y'all Malik Neighbors is going to be the leading receiver. And people thought I was crazy, and that's ultimately what ended up happening. Now, I'm not going to come out here and tell you that I believe this receiver is going to have more receiving yards than Malik Neighbors, because I don't. I think Malik Neighbors is going to be your leading receiver this year. He's your number 1 guy. Obviously he's going to be there. He's going to make a major, major impact. I think we'll get into this later. Malik Neighbors, Kyron Lacy, Brian Thomas Jr., and then Aaron Anderson. Aaron Anderson. Those are your 4 guys that you know are going to play very, very significant snaps. The main guys, right?
Yep.
We know Aaron Anderson is going to be a little bit different. He's going to be kind of like a specialist, kind of like, you know, find him an open space, get him the ball. You know, he's not going to be like, he's not going to be like Malik or Kyron, you know, where he's out, you know, doing like route trees and stuff like that. Like he's out wide. Like he's going to be, you know, coming in the backfield, coming out of the backfield, set up on bubble screens, crossers, short slants, stuff like that, I think is what you're going to see with Aaron Anderson. But I'm very interested to see how they use him. So, you know pretty much who the top 4 guys are going to be. It's after that you start to see some other names that have kind of risen to the top of that second kind of group. And in that second kind of group is Chris Hilton, Shelton Sampson, Kyle Parker's had a really good camp. So guys like that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that, I mean, guys, Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels, I think, is poised to have a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be really special. I think the connection between Jaden and Malik is going to be really special this upcoming season.
I think it's going to be the best connection that you've seen since Joe and Jamar.
And I will say this. I will make this claim here. I think it will be the best connection in all of college football. And here's why.
Whoa.
Here's why. I do not believe that Malik Neighbors is the best receiver in college football, but quarterback and receiver,
the combination of both.
The combination, I think it's the best in college football. Caleb Williams lost Jordan Addison.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Harrison Jr. has lost C.J. Stroud. Alabama, they ain't had a receiver last year, and now they don't have
a quarterback.
And I just wanted to throw that out there for the fun of it. They didn't have anybody in the running. So Georgia, with McConkey and Brock Bowers, they have Carson Beck now, but they don't have Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
Drake May, in my opinion, doesn't have that great of receivers. I think he's a great quarterback, but I don't think North Carolina has that special of receivers. I think they got some good ones, but I don't think they're anything like Malik. So, in my opinion, the connection between Jaden and Malik will be the best in the country. I think the chemistry is there. They've had a whole season together. They've had a full off season together. They've spent time together. They've worked together. So, without question, it is better than it was last year, and last year it wasn't that bad. This year, I think you're really going to see Malik and Jaden take a step in the right direction, really opening this offense up, and it's going to make the rest of the offense really dangerous.
Reagan, you said last year wasn't that bad. Reagan, Malik was 1,000-yard receiver, and not only was he a 1,000-yard receiver, he was one of only 2 in the SEC conference.
Correct. I mean, it's going to be really good. I think Malik could have a 1,500-yard season. I really do, and I think he's going to push for the Biletnikoff. Him and Marvin Harrison and whatnot. David, you are right. Yeah, Jordan Travis
Wilson and Travis,
yeah. and Johnny Wilson. It's a good one. I don't think it's as talented as Jaden and Malik. Johnny Wilson's a good receiver. I don't think he's Malik Neighbors. What I'll be worried about is I think Florida State has legitimately 2 number 1 receivers in Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson. That's going to be a scary threat. But in terms of 1 quarterback, 1 receiver, I think Jaden and Malik top it all. I really do. But yeah, there's no doubt that Florida's going to not only have a run game, because I think their running backs kind of slept on, but they're going to have a really good passing game in Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. But first and foremost, I wanted to address that. It is very evident through fall camp. It is without question, Malik has separated himself by far as the number 1 guy. And everybody kind of knew that, and it was kind of assumed, but then you watched him prove it in fall camp. Yeah. Like there has been no doubt left about it that he is no doubt Jaden's number 1 target.
Yeah.
Like he is your safety blanket. Like, okay, this read is not there. This read is not there. Let me just find 8, and I got a shot. If I can give him a good ball, I can find 8 and get a good shot at it. We watched him high point several balls over receivers. He's just athletic, guys. He is just that man. He is that one. He's clearly separated himself from the pack, and I am really excited to see what he and Jaden can do. In light of that, I think that it's going to draw more attention to Malik naturally. Therefore, guys like Kyron are also going to take a step this season.
100%.
Kyron has added some size. He's had a year in the SEC. Kyron is a true SEC receiver now. Like now. He is bathed himself in an SEC season. He's gone through a full off season, created that chemistry. Mm-hmm. Is he Malik? No. But Kyron's going to have a dang good year.
I will go as far as saying, Reagan, that I believe Kyron Lacy is in the neighborhood of 600 to 800 yards.
That's what I was about to say. I think he can have an 800, yard season with like 8 touchdowns to go along with it. 7, 8 touchdowns to go along with it. Like, really great season. Okay, so this is where, I think your top 2 guys are going to be really good. Really good. Kyron, BTJ. Like, the dude has it all. He's got the size, length, his speed. He's athletic. Maybe his speed lacks a little, but he's not slow by any means.
He's a big boy. He's a tall boy.
But he's got it for a SEC receiver. The problem has been the drops.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he struggled with dropping the ball, and that's why Chris Hilton was on his heels there for a little bit, pushing for that spot because the drops have continued. Now, I do ultimately think that BTJ will be your third guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if it changed if that problems continue because Chris Hilton has had a great fall camp. And most of all, Chris Hilton has finally stayed healthy, and it feels like we can finally see what Chris Hilton can do because, guys, Chris Hilton was, the best receiver in Louisiana that class. He was better. He was rated better than Malik. He was rated better than BTJ. Coming out of Zachary, he was highly touted receiver.
Yeah.
And due to some injuries, he's been bit by the injury bug a little bit. We just haven't gotten to quite see it. Now he's healthy, and I think we're finally going to get to see Chris Hilton show us what he can do this year. So I'm excited about him. But, man, I really want to see BTJ kind of shore up you're a receiver, man. You got to catch the ball. Yeah. Like, he gets himself open, and the ball can get to him, and he can go up and beat just about any DB with his size. You just got to bring the ball down.
Yeah.
So he's a great target. Can he catch the ball consistently? We'll see. With Chris Hilton's speed, it adds another dynamic to this offense. Okay, if BTJ isn't, able to seal the deal and catch the ball, let's send Chris out there and see if he can rip the top open, with his elite speed.
Yeah.
And then you throw Aaron Anderson in the mix, and there's a whole lot going on for a defense to watch for.
For real.
Let alone, folks, in the back of their mind, they're going to be remembering that Jaden Daniels was the number 1 rusher on this team last year. Let's not forget that, folks. The dude can turn on the jets and make you pay. If you got your back to the quarterback, oh, yeah, I got my assignment. We're covered. You may got that receiver locked up, and then you turn around, and Jaden Daniels is 20 yards down the field.
Yeah.
And you got 5 yards or 10 yards to catch him. And he's going to make you pay. So, it's a lot of receivers that bring a lot to the table that create this offense to be very complicated for some defenses to handle. And I am really excited to see what this offense can do with them taking that next step, because it really feels like what we missed last year is something we're going to get to see that this year, and it's going to really open things up. And I think this offense is going to be, I think without question, it's going to be the best offense since 2019, LSU 2019. Not in college football, but in terms of LSU, without question. And I will back Matt Moscona. I'm going to back Matt Moscona here. Matt Moscona has made a claim that Jaden Daniels, after this season, would become the second leader in passing yards in LSU history, and it would happen on this season. Folks, I think it's going to happen.
I would agree.
I will not be surprised if Homie has like
over 3,000 yards.
Well over 3,000 yards, pushing 4K.
Well, to get back on the receivers, if you think about it, if you have Malik and he's over at 1,000, you said 1,500. I think he's going to be closer to 12. Okay, if Malik's around, so based on what I'm thinking, if Malik's around 1,200 yards, if Kyron Lacey's at 800 yards, and then I think a mixture of Aaron Anderson, BTJ, Mason Taylor, they're going to be in the 400-yard range for all three of them. Yeah. So if you look at that, if you look at just those five guys, you're sitting at 3,200 yards. 3,200. So, and that's just me guessing, right? That's just me guessing. Yeah. That's if Malik Neighbors hits 1,200, if Kyron Lacey hits 800, and then if Mason
which is
Taylor,
asking a lot. It's asking a lot, but
but I mean, I think that's not even counting any of the other wide receivers like Shelton Sampson, Chris Hilton, those guys that are going to obviously play a major factor. Running backs out of the backfield, the other tight ends, which we'll get to here in a second. Like, it is very, very easy to see how Jaden and this receiving core could amass over 3,000 yards this year, and I don't think that is going to be very difficult for this passing attack at all.
Jaden had 17 touchdown passes last year. I think he's in around 25. I think he's 22 to 25 touchdowns passing.
So also, let me look at this. So last year, he was just under 3,000. He was at 29-13.
Yeah.
So I easily believe that Jaden will hit 3,000. He might be.
I think he pushed 4K.
4,000. I think he could push 4,000. It depends on how big of a year BTJ, Aaron
You also
Anderson,
think about running backs. They want to throw it out of the backfield.
And you got guys that can pass out of the backfield in John Emery, in
Logan
Trey
Diggs.
Bradford. I mean, all those guys.
Yeah.
All those guys can and as you said, Trey Diggs. And then you can't also fail to forget Caleb Jackson, who had a phenomenal 75-yard touchdown in the scrimmage this past Saturday, which was a catch out of the backfield. Yeah. I gotta stop real quick. This is my dude, Brandon Brady.
What up, Brandon?
Exactly what's up, my brother. Go Tigers, dude. I miss Brandon. Me and Brandon, we used to hang out a lot in Little Rock at my church in Oak Park, and dude's a baller. He is a baller. He played for University of Arkansas Little Rock.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a baller.
He can
hoop. He can hoop. We used to play a lot together at the church, and he's way, way, way better than I am. I promise. I promise you that. So, but I'm surprised he's in here saying "Go Tigers." I can't remember if Brandon was an LSU fan or not. You'll have to remind me, Brandon. Are you an LSU fan? I can't remember. I don't
know. He said G-O Tigers, so I'm.
See, Brandon, he said G-O Tigers, not G-E-A-U-X. That's the standard.
Man,
that's the standard.
Brutal. That's okay.
but it is great to see him joining us tonight. We got all kinds of new people in here tonight. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tyler, RP are all in here. Jason Baker's back. Jason said he thinks that this receiving core can hit.
I'm right with you, Baker. I'm right with you, man. Right with you there, Jason. All right, Zach. So let's discuss tight ends because I think this is interesting.
Well, hold on. Before we move on, we
okay,
need to discuss. You need to. We know who the top guys are going to be. We haven't even barely mentioned some of the young freshmen that could have impacts this season.
Oh, well, I think Shelton Sampson's your impact freshman. I don't know. I don't know if any of the freshmen like really impact the receivers.
Yeah.
But I think they can get some rotation for sure. I think I think
Shelton Sampson. Yeah, it seems like Shelton Sampson is going to be
if any of them, it'll be Shelton.
Which he was. I mean, he was the highest rated, correct?
Oh,
or was Jalen Brown? Was Jalen Brown? No, I think
Shelton
was higher than Jalen.
No, Shelton was ranked a little bit higher than Jalen, but Jalen's right. I mean, Jalen's just as talented as Shelton is. Shelton's just got a little bit more size than Jalen does.
Appreciate that, Brandon. He said, haha, I'm a fan of y'all. Appreciate that. But
yeah,
he's kind of like Brandon's kind of like my Braxton. Or your Braxton, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, like he's a straight hooper and he just loves sports.
That's what's up, man.
That's Braxton, one of your friends.
Absolutely.
He's a hooper and he just loves sports. He cheers for anybody.
Hey, RP. Hey, you need to chill out with you need to quit taking words that we're about to say out of our mouth, okay? No, I'm kidding.
RP has
comment as much as you want.
He has a way of doing that.
Yeah. No, you're good, man. go right ahead. But Zach, I think if any freshman, Shelton Sampson and Kyle Parker. Outside of that, I think you may. I'm trying to think. Oh man, what's the other one?
A freshman?
Kai Preem. That's the other one I was saying. I think Preem takes a red shirt. I think I think he takes a red shirt this season because he's talented. I just think he's got some more developing to do than maybe Shelton Sampson does. Maybe Kyle Parker takes a red shirt. Maybe. I don't think so, though. I think if Aaron Anderson goes down, you may see Kyle Parker start maybe receiving punts. Maybe. But I think if Aaron Anderson goes down, you're the first guy you're going to look at is, okay, Mr. Clayton, Mr. Sure-handed Clayton, go out there, call fair catch, and catch the ball. But Aaron Anderson, in terms of the punt returner, seems to be the guy in all indications. So if he doesn't go down, I don't know how much Kyle Parker kind of sees the field, but I think the guys who will see the field this year and maybe get a couple reps is Shelton Sampson and Jalen Brown.
Yeah, and we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, they're not going to be trotting out there, when it's like crunch time and
right.
You got to have your playmakers make plays. But, in some garbage time where the game's out of hand, those guys are going to get a lot of playing time.
Yeah, for sure.
In that regards.
Yeah, I would think so. All right, Zach, let's talk a little about the tight ends because, man, this is going to be this is a really talented group compared to what we're used to. This group is about to be utilized way more than we're used to.
This is the most talented tight end room that we have ever seen in our lifetime of watching LSU.
Definitely in recent history.
I think in our lifetime. I mean,
in our lifetime, yes.
There's been some good tight. When we're talking about when you need guys catching and catch the mixture of catching and blocking as tight ends, this is the best.
Yeah. So I'll let you lead off last time. I'll lead us off here, Zach. Mason Taylor's number one. I mean, he's your number one guy.
No doubt.
No question. Last year, as a true freshman, Mason Taylor was phenomenal. By the end of the season, Mason was a vet.
If Harold Perkins
a vet
isn't at LSU, Mason Taylor is your MVP of the freshman class.
No doubt. No question. And he's right. I mean, well, I don't know, Zach. We had a lot of freshmen last year really step up. Will Campbell, Emory Jones. I mean, the freshman play last year was fantastic. But just think for a second, guys, as a true freshman, Zach, I watched the replays the other day of the Alabama game.
You're gonna make me want to go watch some.
Mason Taylor. We're down in the fourth quarter. We go down in the fourth quarter, and you're like, it's gonna freaking happen again. Here we go all over again. Right? I think we're down 17.
Alabama at home, just like normal.
Yeah, right. We were down 17-21. Fantastic drive. I go rewatch that drive. If you have time to go watch those highlights, go watch the highlights and watch the drive when LSU is down 17-21. It will show you how much better, how well coached this team is compared to the past two seasons. And that touchdown pass from Jaden and the touchdown catch from Mason Taylor to go up 24-21 was absolutely amazing. It was amazing. He's a true freshman. He is between definitely two defenders. He's definitely between two defenders. The third one seems to be on his way when the catch is being made. But he goes up, high points the ball in the corner of the end zone, right in front of the student section, brings it down in clutch time, with a couple minutes on the clock, and takes the lead back from Alabama as a true freshman. He is phenomenal last year. Yeah. And then catches the game-winning 2-point conversion. I mean, sure-handed as sure as it got. You could find Mason Taylor, and if he caught that ball, he was doing something with it. I mean, he made plays in the Ole Miss game. He made plays in the Alabama game. He made plays in the Florida State game, y'all. He made plays in the Florida State game last year.
Yeah.
Darn near scored the touchdown on that play that ended up, all that stuff that happened at the end there with the time and whatnot. Phenomenal. He is your number one guy without question. Without question. Here's the awesome thing, though, is that was about it last year. You had Mason Taylor, and that was it.
That was it.
You had some blockers you could throw out there with, like, Jack Mashburn and Nick Storrs, just some bodies to block somebody.
Yeah.
But now you have guys that you can run 12 personnel with, and guys who are talented, guys who can catch the ball in Mac Markway and Kamorian Pimpton. They have size, they have skill, they can catch the ball. Mac Markway is a great blocker. Kamorian Pimpton's got to get better at blocking. He's got to get better at blocking. But Kamorian Pimpton is going to be an absolute threat in the red zone. He is going to be a mismatch all day long in the red zone. And because we have these tight ends now to pair with Mason Taylor, you throw 12 personnel out there, you really limit what the defense can do when you've got two tight ends on the field. And you have Mason Taylor and let's say Matt Markway or Kamorian Pimpton, and then you throw in the mix Malik Neighbors and Kyron Lacey, right?
And Anderson.
Like, it's going to be a lot for defenses to handle, and it is going to really help this offense. And I am super excited about what this tight end group can do. Zach, what are your thoughts on it? Because we really need to get moving on it.
I don't think there's much more I can say on the tight end room. Everything you said about Mason Taylor, 100%. I think, as you mentioned, the biggest thing that we need to talk about when discussing the tight end room this year is that you'll be able to see a new set of offense that you really didn't get to see feature as much last year, and now it can be a staple in your offense.
Yeah,
running the 12 personnel. So we'll see exactly what other tight ends kind of emerge this year, because there is so many guys there, as you said, Kamorian Pimpton, Mac Markway, Jackson McGowan. Forgive me, I think there's another one that Gilbreth. Connor Gilbreth, the transfer. He also is apparently had a pretty good fall camp.
Wow.
And, not somebody that's going to wow you, but there's another guy. I want to say, let me make sure I'm telling you that correctly. I'm pretty sure it's Andy.
I haven't heard much about him, honestly.
Connor Gilbreth. Yes. He's number 89. He's a true, I think a true sophomore, 6'5", 270. Wow. Yeah. And he's got a year of experience. I can't remember exactly where he transferred in from. I'd have to look that up, but he's got a year of experience underneath his belt playing college football. So he's a guy that, with so many young guys in that room, he's got to kind of help Mason Taylor out a little bit with some experience.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of people that want to talk about Kamorian Pimpton and his ability, like his mismatch. Zach, I think people are sleeping on Matt Markway. I really do. I think Matt Markway is going to play just as much, if not maybe even more than Kamorian Pimpton. I think when you see 12 personnel out there, a lot of times I think it's going to be Mason and Mac. I really do.
Because Kamorian Pimpton isn't, as you said, he's a pass catcher, right?
Yeah, he's a guy you can stick out in the slot, and that's a problem.
He is a catch first type in, and you already have that in Mason Taylor. So Kamorian Pimpton's not going to overtake Mason Taylor. Right? He could potentially. You never know. I mean, he could come out there and just do some crazy things.
Maybe so. But I think
you never know. He could go out there and go like all Brock Bowers on him, or like Darnell Washington on him, or something. I don't know, but the reason people I think are really high on him is because he's been so good in fall camp as a pass catcher. But I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. I do think he's gonna have an impact. I just don't know if it's going to be as much of what people are thinking that he's going to do. So
you remember how Thad would push Thad out to the slot every now and then?
Yes.
I think you're going to see some of that at times. You're going to like he is that style of tight end.
Like if they're putting a tight end out in the slot, it'd be him, not Mason Taylor.
Correct. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So specific plays, specific sets.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Zach. We spent maybe too much time on that, but that's okay. We
had to cover two groups.
We were enjoying talking about it. We covered two groups. Let's hit a quick break real quick, and we'll come back and we'll wrap things up with fall camp. We'll talk the scrimmage, and then we'll talk a little something extra after that, right after this. 5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at OneNationDoty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Here in the Tigers Avenue, let's talk about the scrimmage this past Saturday. Zach, what were some things you saw? Obviously, maybe some people have read up on some things already. Obviously, that was Saturday. But, what were some things that you liked that you saw and read about, and maybe we can give our, player of the day, player of the scrimmage, and all of that.
Well, I'll just kind of skip to that first and then backtrack a little bit. Obviously, I think the play of the day would be Caleb Jackson's reception out of the backfield, kind of making a guy miss there around the line of scrimmage, and then housing it for 75 yards. That obviously was the play of the day. As far as, just kind of my overall thoughts, I thought it was really good for them to be able to get in a full scrimmage in and get in. I think it was over 50 plays or something like that.
Or right at it. I thought it was
or right at it, something like that. I can't remember exactly. I'm going back right now to try and which it was Saturday. So what day was that? That would have been the 19th. Okay. So I was gone on Saturday. I was doing a lot of car work with one of my buddies. But anyways, so I didn't get to follow it as closely as I wanted to on Twitter. But from what I understood, it was a pretty good day for the offense. Jaden Daniels, he didn't, pass it a whole lot. I think he only had 13 attempts or something like that. Yeah. And Garrett only had 8 attempts. So it wasn't a whole lot was going on, but both Jaden and Garrett both had touchdowns on the scrimmage. I know one of them was to Noah Kane. One of them was to obviously Caleb Jackson. Jaden's was to was his to Caleb Jackson or was it Nussmeier's? I think it was Jaden. I think Jaden was to Caleb.
Jaden went to Caleb Jackson because Armani Goodwin, Logan Diggs, and Josh Williams sat out of the scrimmage.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was Jaden that threw the ball.
The long one, the long touchdown pass was from Nussmeier.
From Nussmeier yeah, correct. So and there was so many guys that had receptions. I think there was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, Jaden's went to Kane.
12. There was 12 guys that caught at least one pass on the day. Yeah. Speaking of tight ends, Mason Taylor had the most receptions on the day. He had 4. And he was your second lead receiver behind Caleb Jackson with 33. So, I mean, I like to see that they were just kind of spreading the ball around. They were getting it to all kinds of different guys, giving a lot of other guys chances, throwing it to all kinds of, tight end, wide receiver, running backs out of the backfield. So I think my biggest thing, I don't want to play on it too much because everybody wants to talk about it, but the 75-yard touchdown to Caleb Jackson out of the backfield, the biggest takeaway for me from that is they are emphasizing passing the ball to the running backs out of the backfield. And we'll talk about this when we discuss the running backs as well. But I think that's huge because, as you have mentioned a lot during the show, LSU is setting themselves up to where the defenses are going to have to guard everything. I mean, they're going to have to guard every single option if you think about it. You have a running quarterback, so you have to worry about him scrambling. You've got receivers like Aaron Anderson, who you have to worry about, who's speedy, can make a guy miss, who's a small guy, can get the ball in space, and can hit hit a home run with it. You have to worry about a tall guy like Brian Thomas Jr., who's can go over the top and high point a ball. You have to worry about a guy in Malik Neighbors who's just all around phenomenal receiver, a first round talent. I mean, you have to worry about running backs catching the ball out of the backfield. You have to worry about Mason Taylor, a tight end. You have to worry about Kamorian Pimpton, a mismatch nightmare in the red zone. You have to worry about a whole dead gum football team of running backs in the backfield that can beat you in so many different ways. The biggest thing for me is they spread the ball around. There were so many different guys that got opportunities. And to be honest, that's how it's going to be with this team. You're going to have so many different options in offense, with this offense. It's not like back in 2015 when you're hey, our offense is Leonard Fournette. I don't even know if I can really remember. I mean,
there's a 5-star in Malachi Dupree who hardly did anything because we were in archaic Les Miles offense.
I think he might be the only receiver I remember from that year. Maybe
Travin Durrell or John.
Maybe Travin Durrell or I don't think DJ Chark was there then. I don't know. Anyway, so but that's how it is. That's how it was back then. You had one guy, you had Leonard Fournette, right? And Brandon Harris would hike the ball, and here you go. That was our offense, right?
Yeah.
But this offense, man, you have got so many different options, and so offense, was obviously the big takeaway from the day. Reagan, you'll have to help me though on defense. I mean, who was for you? What was your biggest takeaway on defense?
Come on, man. I think outside of what Caleb Jackson did, I think the defense won the day. If you want my opinion,
okay.
I think Zai had the best day defensively of any of them. He, in the first drive against the first team, there was 2 plays back-to-back, and it was a third down play. They went to Neighbors, and Zai had a very good PBU. He broke the pass up, and the first team offense went first 3 and out. The very next drive, they threw the ball to Mason Taylor. It was like a 17-yard catch. And then, I think they threw to Mason again the next play. Zai strips the ball out, and the defense recovers it. Just like that. Zai had the pass breakup on the first drive to get the offense to go 3 and out, and then Zai had the strip fumble that was recovered by the defense. So, he no doubt had the best day defensively. The thing of note with the defense, and another thing that we're going to have to discuss, injury-wise, Sage Ryan was playing the other DB, not Deuce Chestnut.
Seems like the narrative has changed. Earlier on in fall camp, and really up until this past week,
Deuce had been your guy.
Deuce is your guy. Who's the next corner? Now it's like Zai is your guy. Who's the next corner? Which, by the way, I just watched the video. It was Garrett that threw the ball to Caleb.
Correct. Yeah. Because he had the most passing yards on the day, and it was because he had 75 yards from one play.
Yeah, correct. Because he did
but yeah, Sage was out there. Now, he had a collision with Mason Taylor just before the strip from Zai. I think it was just before the strip or just after or something like that. He had a collision with Mason, and he was down on the field supposedly for a good a chunk of time. And they actually went down to the other side of the field to finish the drive because he was on the field for so long. So everybody was really concerned about that because you've already lost J.K. Johnson. And thankfully, Denver Harris was out there playing because you were concerned about, the situation with Harris. And if you lose J.K. Johnson to injury, you lose Denver Harris to whatever issues are going on, and then you lose Sage Ryan to an injury, you're in real trouble depth-wise. You're in some serious trouble. So thankfully, it looks like it was just a stinger, and he has been back practicing this week, thankfully. But look, guys, I'm not against it. Sage Ryan was a 5-star coming out of LCA at Lafayette Christian, and he's got speed. He's good in coverage. We've seen him in nickel every now and then in his career. Hasn't had the career you would think he would have as a 5-star, but maybe this is his time to rise to the top. And, we need somebody to step up. Maybe it's Sage Ryan. Maybe it is Sage Ryan. Deuce ran with the 2s, and it was Sage with the 1s. So I'm really excited about what I've seen with Zai because Zai, I think, has created in himself an SEC, he is an SEC DB. He goes head-to-head with Malik, every day. He's been beaten sometimes, but he's won some reps too. I mean, he goes and he breaks up the pass the first drive and forces the offense to 3 and out. And then he strips Mason Taylor, who we were just speaking and praising so highly last year.
Yep.
And he strips him. So I really am excited about Zai and the season he could potentially have. The other one, we're just got to see how it plays out. Is it going to be Sage? Is it going to be Deuce? We don't know. I think it's going to be one of those two, though. The way they had it set up, they had here's another thing for certain. I think Andre Sam's going to be in the starting 11 in some fashion. In some fashion. They had it set up like this. You had Sage and you had Zai wide out. You had Andre Sam at the nickel. and then you had Greg Brooks and Major Burns as the two safeties. We had been seeing Greg Brooks nickel and Major and Andre at the two safeties. So they've been playing with it. They've been trying to figure out, okay, what's the best fit. So, I mean, I think we're just going to have to play a couple games and let's see who rises to the top in competition. I really think it's going to go into the season on who will win that position ultimately. I think you got some guys that can really do it and be solid at it. I don't think we're going to be elite this year. It's not going to be DBU, but I think you can be good enough to win a bunch of games with this DB secondary group because they have shown flashes. And I think when we get into competition, you're not always going to be facing Malik Neighbors and Kyron Lacey. Obviously, week one, you got to face Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. So it's going to be a tough task early. But, there's going to be some games where you can work with that, So the second DB, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But in terms of one DB, I think it's Zai. And then in some form or fashion, Major, Brooks, and Andre are going to be out there. I think Brooks and Andre – may fluctuate between nickel and safety, but I think Major is definitely going to be your safety back. So, I like what I've seen out of that, and they played really well defensively in the scrimmage. So I was excited about the defense because for so long it seemed like the offense was absolutely dominating them. But
seems like they've caught up here recently.
Right. They've played a lot better here lately, which is really encouraging because this offense is going to be good.
Jason Baker said, so Sage has beat out Zai. No, we're saying he's beat out maybe Deuce. We'll see.
Yeah, Zai is probably going to be your
Zai apparently feels like Zai is there. All right, Reagan. So have we covered everything we want to cover with the –
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the highlights of the fall camp.
Let's get to some comments here for some Lagniappe because a lot of these comments kind of highlight some of the stuff we need to talk about because
sure.
all of these things are really kind of what's going on right now. I'll hit this one first, and then we'll do the other one that David mentioned because that's really the big topic. He said, who y'all think is going to be 18-7? I'm going Burns is 18, Neighbors is 7. And I think the reason he mentioned that is because we're being told that it's very likely that potentially either today.
Please don't give Neighbors 7.
I think either Friday, tomorrow, or maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. Like apparently this weekend, it's going to be announced. I believe 18 is going to be given to Josh Williams, and I believe 7 is going to Greg Brooks.
Say it one more time.
I believe 18 is going to Josh Williams, and I believe 7 is going to Greg Brooks, and I would be willing to. I would be willing to bet a lot of money on both of those.
I would be happy with Greg Brooks wearing 7. I do not I get what you're saying. Is it RP? Yeah. Like RP, I get why you would say Neighbors, but please, for the love of God, do not give that man 7. Please.
Wide receiver hasn't worked out for LSU at number 7. I'm hoping it goes to Greg Brooks.
I'll be fine with Greg Brooks. I think Josh Williams deserves. Did you say Josh Williams? Right? You said Josh. I think Josh Williams, without question, deserves 18. And I'm not going to be upset if he doesn't get it, but I think he absolutely deserves.
He is the best candidate in my opinion.
I mean, I don't see maybe Major Burns. They used to do an offense and a defense 18. Who had it last year? They had Ojolari, and they only did one, right?
Yeah, it depends.
They did a one on offense, one on defense.
The last time they did both was 2019 when they did Chason and Lloyd Cushenberry, and Lloyd Cushenberry wore the patch.
Right.
And then if you remember, some time before that, it was Foster Moreau, and I want to say one of the defensive linemen. I can't remember. But yeah, in the past they've done both. They've done two, but I think this year you're going to see one number 18, one number 7. I think it's Josh Williams number 18. I think it's Greg Brooks number 7.
Okay, I would be elated to give Josh Williams 18. Absolutely, all day. I'm ready to get rid of 7.
I know you said that.
18,
maybe Greg's the one to kind of bring it back.
18, great. You're a leader. Like you've earned that.
There's not a.
I'm cool with that.
There's not a statistical or standard as far as play goes.
Right. Like Foster Moreau is not like wow, tied in. Great, I think he was phenomenal.
But he deserved it.
But he earned it. He deserved it. He was a leader on that team. Josh Williams, I think, has a phenomenal story. Just does everything right. Very consistent, very reliable. Was a walk-on.
I was gonna say he's the type of guy like he's the type of guy that's getting like that Stetson Bennett story.
Bro, if
LSU goes to like a national championship or something, like a New Year's Six bowl or something, like he's gonna be like featured probably.
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
All right, let's get to the main question, the main thing we need to address before we wrap this up. David Singley Jr. said, how did Mason Smith get suspended one game if NIL was legal? I'll address that, and then I'll let Reagan go on a rant because I know he's going to do that.
Go on a rant.
He got suspended because what happened with the autograph signing happened in 2020 when NIL had not been instated yet. So
I thought it was summer of 21 they did it.
It might have been 20. I can't remember exactly. It might have been 21. I could be good. I think you're right. 2021. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Good. It happened in 2021, not 2020. I'm sorry. It happened in 2021 when NIL had not been instated yet. So therefore, he was in violation. So I know I'm with y'all and Wilson, but Wilson Alexander made a great point today on Blake's show. Even though it's stupid, it's dumb. It's legal now because it shouldn't be an issue. Technically, the NCAA is within their rights to suspend him and discipline him for what happened in 2021. They are within their rights, but it's still, regardless, is really stupid.
Yeah. Like, why are we why does the NCAA get to select the game he's suspended when the other player involved, the coach selected?
Yeah, that's what pisses me off.
Why does the NCAA have it in their minds that they must ruin things, that they must suck the life out of things, that they must nitpick to the very end? Guys, he was injured all of last season. If he was going to be suspended one game, he missed the whole season.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. He needs to be punished. Like, can you not see he's had enough? He tore his ACL first series of the season, misses an entire season. Oh, let's come back to that and suspend him one game. Like, come on. Really?
And you really needed, I mean, not that LSU can't win the game, but man, you think about the opportunity that and the possibility of having a really hungry Mason Smith in that first game.
It's ridiculous. Okay, yes, I'm right there with you, Zach. They're every they have the right to, make some kind of, whatever you call it, punishment or whatever, because it was before that was legal. It was illegal then. He did it when it was illegal, right? But man, we got collectives and all these things, and we're paying players left and right.
Yeah.
And here we are 2 years after the event, after the guy missed a whole season, And you're going to suspend him for a game over that? Like, good grief. We're suspending a guy over being paid for autographing something when it's legal right now. Like, it's literally legal. Like, he can go do it tomorrow. He can do it in the middle of his suspended game.
Yep.
I mean, he's suspended for the Florida State game, right?
That'd be great,
walk
man.
up to a fan.
That'd be awesome.
Somebody can hand him $50 cash while on the sideline, and he can sign it and hand it to him, and they can pay him, and there's nothing wrong with that because it's legal now. Like, the NCAA is so absolutely absurd. Like, why? You have much better things to do than come back 2 years later on an incident that is now, obviously 2 years in the past, but now it's something that you can legally do. And the dude missed a whole season last year. Okay, they were going to suspend him for a game last year. Okay, fine. He had an infraction, suspend him for a game. They suspended Booty for a game. Fine. The dude missed the whole season. Let it go. Let it go.
The thing that upsets me the most, Reagan, is like you said earlier, how does one player in the same exact incident, the same exact problem, both of these players that got caught with the exact same situation, it's both of them together doing this, and one player gets to
select the game
that he is suspended for, and another player
they enforce
gets chosen the game, which arguably is the biggest game of the season. It will be argued, and I will argue it heavily next week on one of our shows, that this is the biggest game of the season with Alabama in consideration of that.
All right, I do want to address this, though, what RP is saying. Look, I've been seeing this from fans. You know, this is conspiracy stuff. Like, okay, like the FSU AD is now on the NCAA board or whatever, and like, you know, I think that's some LSU fans that are jaded that are just throwing some conspiracies out there. Like, I don't think that's actually true.
You never know.
He's not the one that suspended him. You know, it's always a board that makes those decisions. Could he be on that board specifically? Sure. Do I know that for a fact? No. But he himself is not the one suspending the guy. But it is absolutely absurd. You have to come back to something 2 years later. It is one incident, and from reports, it was not some kind of massive deal. It was a very minor autograph signing where not much money was exchanged.
Yeah.
You punish one player differently than you're punishing the other player who was literally at the same autograph signing. How does that work? Because the dude got hurt all last season, now you get to choose the game? Like, you're going to kick him after he's been injured last year? It's something so typical of the NCAA to kick somebody while they've already down, right? Like, and also, if you just recently watched the untold story of Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football is suspended for a freaking half game. Yep. Half a game. And he was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It wasn't one signing.
It wasn't one signing. I mean, it was multiple. They bold-face lied to the NCAA about it. Bold-face lied to the NCAA about it and get away with it. But this one incident, and it's now legal to do it, you suspend this guy a game, and you're going to do it differently than how you did Booty. Makes absolutely no sense.
Appeal.
Absolutely. Appeal. Yeah, let's do what Jim Harbaugh just did. Let's put an appeal up for it. And okay, now we got to put it on hold so he can play the game now. Golly, like, come on. The college football is college sports, college football, college basketball, college baseball is some of the greatest sports we get to watch. And the NCAA just loves to ruin their product. They love it. I am sick of the NCAA. I wish we could do away with it. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. Like, we need to somehow disconnect and disband from the NCAA and get rid of those absolute morons. The decisions they habitually make are absurd. They are absurd, and it just continually eats at me that this is something we're dealing with. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And that I could go on and on about it, but I'll hush now. But anyways, Mason Smith may be suspended for the first. Well, is as of right now suspended for the first game, and yeah, that's ridiculous. You got anything else, Zach?
Nah. Let's take a quick break. When we'll be back, we'll wrap up the show.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue, for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
I couldn't do it, Reagan. I couldn't talk about it anymore. It's just frustrating.
Oh my gosh! Complete morons. Complete morons. Anyways, do away with them. Get rid of all of them.
I'm good with it.
Sick of them. We need something else. We need like a commissioner or something formed like the NFL and get rid of this business NCAA because they're trash.
I'm with you.
Anyways, so be it. All right, guys, we are inching so close to the start of the season. Hey, guys, there's college football this weekend. I'm going to watch some of it. I know I'm not going to watch all of it because some of the games are going to be really boring, but I'll watch games like Navy and Notre Dame in Dublin, certain games like that. And yes, Dad, yes, NCAA should be sent to Mars, never to be seen again. I absolutely agree. Anyways, we're so close, guys, though. Regardless of how the NCAA is going to try and ruin college football continually is amazing, and I'm excited for it. I am pumped for it. And we're so close. This weekend. We got some of it. Guys, the expectations are high for this season. They really are. So it's an exciting time to be a Tiger fan. Obviously, we've won 2 championships already this year. Maybe the LSU Tigers on the football side of things, year 2 of Brian Kelly, can bring another championship home. Reagan, no, never watch Notre Dame. It's a sin. I'll be pulling for Navy. I'll pull for Navy. So I won't be sinning, right? I'll cheer against evil. No, absolutely. If Notre Dame, I will laugh and point. I will say, ha, 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 you suck. It was never Brian Kelly. Stop saying that. Anyways, so we're really excited about the season. I think LSU is going to win the West again, Zach. I'll give my final predictions, obviously, next week. I think we repeat in the West champs. So lots to look forward to, guys. Appreciate y'all coming on the show and commenting and interacting. We always love it. We'll see. We got 2 shows next week. We will have 2 shows next week to wrap up the position group. We'll cover the running back, and obviously we will cover finally and lastly the quarterback group right before probably on Friday. We'll do that show, Zach, and we'll give you
our final predictions.
Yeah, final prediction on the season. We'll give you a preview of Florida State. We'll give you the quarterback group. That's going to be a really great show. So you'll be
that'll end up being a long show, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. So going to be a great show. So y'all make sure y'all tune into that. We'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. 5-star hero, take us out. Peace.